Hold on, let me turn my. Oh, did I do something wrong? I did that wrong. Just there it is. Okay. Yes, we're on. So, hey y'all. This is Alicia. I was just on here a couple minutes ago with Jessica, and she was talking about opening a virtual dispensary. And she talked about some of the challenges that she faced. Now, I'd like to believe that the video is in my Facebook group, but I'm not 100% sure right now. But if you are following this live right here, you most likely can see the recording. If you can't, just wait. I'll share it some other time. But anyway, my name is Ashley. I'm the founder of the Cannabis Nursing School. And for those of you who are on Instagram, I do recommend you do go to the Facebook group, Cannabis Nursing Solutions. So you can actually see Alicia in real time discussing yoga and spirituality and how you can leverage it in your own practice and possibly how she leveraged it. I'll let her tell you more about it. But this is Alicia. She is amazing. She is part of the High Align tribe. We have known each other for quite some time, actually, at this point, and watched each other grow, to be honest with you. So a lot of people don't know this at this right now because they see me and they're like, oh, you're amazing. When I first started Cannabis Nursing Solutions, it started off as like literally a framework for how to offer a consultation. And I presented it as my training course. And Alicia was one of the first groups of people who are able to attend. And from there, she has begun building her own personal brand. She's doing amazing networking. She's a partner with amazing people. And so I'm just really excited to see how her journey unfolds. So, anyway, I'll let you take it from here.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for having me, Ashley, and all your kind words. I'm super excited to be here, and I'm just super excited also to be a part of Ashley's Highline Tribe. It's a totally necessary thing for me to have community and mentorship within this cannabis and business space because that is how you grow. That is how you find alignment. That is why we are a highly aligned tribe, right?
Yes, yes.
So I own a company called Flor Verde Healing, and our goal is to help people find self-care and worth through plant medicine, through yoga and meditation, and through therapy, mental health therapy. So we have me, I'm doing the plant medicine and yoga and meditation with clients in order to get them where they want to meet their goals. So whether that's getting healthy, whatever that means to you, or getting to a point where you can really focus on being aligned with who you are. We also have mental health therapy services because all of those aspects are something that's going to help you get to where you want to be in life.
Yeah.
And what I think of, what do you think of when you think of alignment, Ashley?
Oh, that's a really broad term to me, but I think it's used in a very specific way in like traditional vernacular. So when I think about alignment, I think about overall balance from head to toe, like in the physical body, that's one aspect. And when we talk about cannabis medicine, I think about it like we talk about it from the physical aspect, but we don't talk about it from the mental aspect, the spiritual aspect, the emotional aspect. Like all of those things deserve some a sense of balance. And even my idea of balance tends to be a little bit different than what most people think as well. But I see it more of like a balance beam. And so as certain areas are exerted more often, then other things tend to shift as well. And so my overall goal in general and how I live my life personally is how can I continuously be able to add to certain areas of I guess weak, I don't even like the word weakness, but areas of weakness in order to achieve flow, in order to move with grace, in order to be as present and as possible in your physical body. Because if all those other things aren't in tune or aligned, then the physical body suffers every time.
Yes, I totally 100% agree with everything you say, especially when we're talking about balance. So when we're aligned, we're really looking for balance, and
Mm-hmm.
we can't get to a place of physical, of emotional or spiritual alignment if there's other obstacles in our way. So what are those obstacles, and what does alignment even mean? Well, if you want to elevate yourself to another level mentally, spiritually, there's things that you're going to have to do before you get there. So for me, alignment means being able to be who you really are, being able to tap into those things that you were born to create, to be aligned with your dharma, your life purpose. But if you have other obstacles, physical or mental, those are the things that really need to be addressed. Those are the first levels of our being. So it doesn't mean you have to be perfectly healthy to be aligned, because that's impossible. But
Yeah.
what can you do to get to your best self with your abilities? And so, when we're talking about all these levels, it reminds me of a model in yoga where we talk about physical energies, the energies within our bodies. We have a physical layer that is something that we need to work on before going deeper. And these are all energetic, so it's not like if you cut a body in half, you can see the energy,
Yeah.
but it makes sense. Everything to me, for anybody who's thinking like, and that energy talk, people are talking about energy, that's not scientific. Well, you know what? Everything is science and everything is energy, no matter what it is. If you're a nurse, you're very science oriented and you think that energy or a scientist is bullshit. We know that everything is made of molecules. We can't see every single molecule.
Mm-hmm.
We can't also see the energies, but you can feel them. You can feel an energy when you walk into a room, when you talk to someone. When I'm talking to you, Ashley, I feel like, we're on the same level. I'm trying to elevate a little bit more to your level, but you know, we got to address those things that are hindering us physically and mentally in order to really align with who we are. So, this all sounds abstract, but I'm going to give you an example about me personally. So, plant medicine is very important to me. Yoga is very important to me in order to help me become a balanced person. I actually, I don't think suffer is a good word, but I have a neurological disorder. I have epilepsy, and I don't use cannabis to control the seizures because that doesn't work for me, but it does work for other people. For me, a trigger for seizures is being stressed out,
Mm-hmm.
not being able to sleep, um, having anxiety. So, what do I do to kind of, you know, like make those things more livable? Like, how do I make my life more livable? Well,
Mm-hmm.
all the things that I've done, I'm so intentional on decreasing my anxiety, decreasing the pain I have, decreasing my stressors in life, and that hasn't been an easy place to get to, but I'm so committed. One of the things I do is I take a CBD tincture every day, and I do yoga every single day. And yoga means so much. It means
Mm-hmm.
so much. It means meditation. It means movement. It means breath. It means nutrition. The ultimate guide to health and wellness is different for everyone. But for me and what I want to share with the world is all of those things that are encompassed with yoga. And for me, it's the ultimate wellness tool.
Yeah.
Are
And I
you-
think sometimes we interchange health and wellness as if they're the same. And I think for a lot of us, our goal actually is to help optimize wellness. Correct me if I'm wrong, because being quote unquote healthy is a transient term. And then wellness also tends to lean, like, what does that actually mean? You know what I mean? Like, it's a very ambiguous term that for everyone, it means something different. And so my endurance level or my neurological capacity or, my ability to ingest or digest is all based on the various systems, that the functionality of those systems throughout our bodies. And so for some people, what wellness actually looks like, it may be very different for you than it would be for me. And so one thing that's missing from our traditional healthcare model is the consideration of that when we're engaging with patients. And so, let's say, for example, I'm suffering with a digestive concern. Um, I'm not going to metabolize certain medications the same way that you would metabolize certain medications. Therefore, I wouldn't get the same results. And so, but when we see a very specific diagnosis, we still tend to lean into that pharmaceutical option, which, it is what it is. But when I hear you talking, I hear you saying that there are alternative ways to optimize the functioning of our systems, and in your case, it is your neurological system that you need to optimize functioning in, so that way you can feel normal, to be honest with you. And so I love that that's what you're incorporating. I think sometimes it's hard for people to understand what we're saying and why we're doing it, right? Like, that's kind of what makes this industry a little bit challenging, is communicating why it's important that you do meditate and not resist it. Why it's important to recognize and consider plant medicine for certain groups of people, right? Because we don't want it for everybody. We don't want, just like you wouldn't give everybody an opioid, which is actually what happened. But anyway, so tell me some of the challenges that you have been dealing with over the years as you've been building up your business.
Such a good question, and so many challenges. And I have to be real, so many mistakes have been made, but with every mistake that's made, I take it as a learning opportunity. Um, I think one of the biggest challenges that I've had to learn about is really sharing like a personal brand, marketing. It's not something that easily came to me, and I needed some guidance about how to do that. And also, I want to share my story. I think there's so many obstacles or challenges. So one, it was the marketing, and I was really helped by being in the High Aligned tribe for so many reasons, because you break everything down about how we can share our personal brand with others. So when I first started, I really didn't really want to be the face of my brand, Fleur Verde Healing. I just didn't want my face on everything. And I wanted, the way I was thinking was, I want this to be about the clients, the patients, and not
Mhm.
just my face.
Yeah.
But as time goes on, I feel like, and I look at the reasons why I follow people. I follow them because I have found some connection with them online
Mhm.
or in person. It's not necessarily always a brand that I'm after, a brand without a face. It's like, oh, there's a human behind this brand who also has a story. So it's taken me a little time to realize that and share my story and the stories of others. And I'm still working on it, and I
Yeah.
always will be.
Yeah, it's a continuous journey. And it's funny because when we were talking to Jessica earlier, that was one of the same things she said. Just leaning into some of the challenges, but really just putting yourself out there. And I also dealt with that myself. I didn't want to be the face of my brand. I didn't want it to be a personal connection. I didn't want everybody to know who I was. And mostly I feel like it was because of the stigma. It's like, well, you're going to be talking about cannabis, but why? What are people going to think about me starting this business the way that I have? And at some point, and I can't really figure out at what stage in the game where I was like, you know what, this is more important than me saving face. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you know what? Everybody, in order for people to know, they have to know. And so, in order for me to get anywhere, I have to lean into my own strengths, the things that I do well, because I didn't have a ton of capital to work with in order to invest in a marketing team, or, all the things that I do have a little bit more access to now. But, but how are people going to find out? And then I also think about some of the things. Girl, I woke up today and I have a cannabis festival ticket in my email. Like things like that just happen. And it's not because of the brand, it's because of the compassion that I offer when I'm dealing with people. You see what I'm saying? So like I debated for the past 2 months whether or not I wanted to go. I've gone every year for the past 4 years, and I said, okay, I'm not. And then I wake up and I guess I am, you know? So you know, being able to be confident in your why, right? Spending time, and that's part of the purpose of the Highline Tribe, is to kind of create a playground, to say, to so to speak, where you can practice communicating, practice being supported, practice being celebrated, because we don't get enough of that. And then also make your mistakes with the tribe. And so we can learn from each other in real time. And I feel like a lot of communities don't really support that inclusive nature that way. And so it's really important for me that, one, you said that, I really appreciate it, but two, that you're getting the benefit of it in real time. So definitely keep moving. I know you're a star. Like sometimes I'm not sure if you believe you're a star, but I know you're a star.
You know,
So
I feel like there's always a level of working on confidence, and we talk a lot about being introverts, you and I.
mhm.
And I feel like maybe people don't always think that I'm an introvert. But let me tell you, after I go to all those networking events, I am so tired. Like, it takes so much energy, but it's all worth it because I have a goal in mind, right? I I'm trying to work something and be 100% authentically me and share that with the world. And if I don't take action, then I'm not going to be able to share that with the world. So that overrides me identifying as an introvert.
Yeah.
Uh, so it's been a journey and really working on confidence. And we had a talk with some other nurses about being introverts, and I said, you know, I think introvert really comes out of their shell when they find what they're passionate about, and what they're aligned with. Maybe not all the time, but you know, I think if you really have your mind set on that goal or you want to be there,
Mhm.
like you will do what you need to do to get there.
Absolutely. And to your point about being an introvert, I think I still maintain that I'm an introvert. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be tapped out all weekend just from doing this all day today. But really, it's more about the preservation of energy, right? Like as introverts, we what is the word, like charge ourselves in isolation. Like we don't need we when we exert ourselves, the energy that exert like leaves us is depleted, and so for a lot of reasons we'll avoid that because we don't like the feeling of it. And so that's also an endurance strategy. Like you have to work at being able to do it. But I don't think being an introvert necessarily should be the reason why we don't do, right? And to your point, if you find the thing that makes you feel good, you'll flow through it, you'll move through it, you'll figure it out. Like it doesn't feel like work anymore. And I feel like especially as nurses, we spend a lot of time dealing with people. And but I think it's ironic that a lot of us are also also introverts. That is a common characteristic of most nurses that I deal with. They're like, I'm an introvert. But we spend all our time dealing with people. And we wonder why we're so burnt out. Hmm. Hmm.
I also feel like in a lot of those settings, like I've worked in so many settings. I've worked in inpatient, I've worked in foster care prevention, I've worked in case management, I've worked as a pediatric nurse practitioner. I've now moved into integrative and holistic health, and I feel like in most of my jobs, oh, I also worked in IV vitamin infusion clinics.
Yeah.
So those some of those places are places where I felt like I couldn't really be my true self. A
Mm.
lot of you may know about code switching, and I feel like that is just a common thing amongst all of us. And when we have to go to a particular work environment, but when you can build or start building what you want to build for yourself, then you can be yourself
Yeah.
or try to get there. You know, I'm starting to teach meditation at a wellness center where I live. I live
Yeah.
in New Jersey, right across the way from New York City. So if anybody out there is in my area, you know, let me know. I'd love to connect. But you
Yes.
know, the owner of the wellness center was telling me like, you know, there's too many places where I haven't been able to be myself. And now she owns her own business and she could be herself. She can wear sweats to work. She can talk how she wants. I just want to be myself. It's so
Yeah.
liberating, and I want to share that with other people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it is liberating to feel like you can be your authentic self and daily, right? Like choose the clothes you want to wear, present yourself how you want to present, use the language that you choose to use. I think the idea of quote unquote professionalism, I think we can expand what that actually means. In a ton of ways, I've been told that I'm not professional. But does that negate the work that I'm capable of? Does that negate the impact that I'm able to achieve? No, it doesn't. I worked in corporate and had to go to the stuffy corporate meetings and look at all the budgets and all that kind of stuff. And, because I showed up the way that I showed up, which was me, it wasn't always respected. And so, I really do want that for any and everybody. I understand that it can't be possible for everybody, but I do want everybody to
Yeah.
experience the ability to show up authentically as yourself. Um, Yeah, I don't have a question. You have anything else you
Yeah,
want to talk
no,
about?
I
Yeah.
I agree, and I agree that professionalism is not it's a very narrow term in America, what we describe as professionalism. Not we, maybe not us, but professionalism in America is based on racism and white supremacy. If you look different than everybody else, I just had to say it because it's true. If you
Mhm.
look different than everybody else and you act different than everybody else in white corporate America, they are not going to accept that. And because you're different, because you act different, or maybe talk different, or maybe have a hairstyle that doesn't look like theirs, then things get much harder. And we don't need to be that narrow about professionalism depending on the way we look.
Yeah.
Professionalism is what we share and the skills that we have, no matter where we come from or how we look. How it's more about what we are contributing.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. And so you brought up white supremacy, and that's actually something that is required to be talked about in the cannabis industry. Did you want to kind of talk more about that concept?
Sure.
Yeah.
For those of you who are new to cannabis, I think a lot of people who have been in the cannabis industry and seen, they know that the war on drugs and the imprisonment of legacy market people who have engaged in the legacy market have been imprisoned, and we know that's because of the impact of racism. The criminalization of cannabis was based on white Americans and politicians being able to criminalize Black and Brown communities as
Hmm.
a way of oppression. So now we're moving into legal territory. There are still people who are imprisoned for selling cannabis. I don't know, 10, 20, 30 years ago, they're still there. And one of the things that really bothers me is when we see all of these dispensaries opening up by huge corporations, right? And
Mhm.
it's very difficult for small businesses to move into the cannabis industry, especially if you come from a marginalized community. It's not easy when you have to pay rent for a dispensary for months. In New Jersey, I think you have to have like the building rented already before you get the approvals, and you have to wait for those approvals and go through those processes, and it takes a long time. Like if you are a low income earner or don't have so much capital, that leaves a lot of people out of the equation.
Yeah, and it's actually true in a lot of states that you have to have your like you have to have plans done, you have to have the building space done, you already have to have, certain things secured in order for you to go through even the licensing process. You have to have access to certain types of people who are able to vouch for you, and things like that. So you're right, it does leave a lot of people out of the running to hold licenses. And to your point about capital, if you're from a black or a brown community, you're most likely you have multiple generations that have not had the accessibility to build wealth. And so there the discrepancy is right there, altogether. So, you know, I don't think that anybody has the answer to any question around these topics, but I think the important part of the conversation is just really acknowledging what this industry is doing as it's moving into a legal market, and to take into account or recognize all the families that have been impacted by the war on drugs because somebody's family member went to jail behind this plant. Meanwhile, there are groups of people who are making millions today, like right now.
Yes, I that's completely right. I agree with everything that you said.
Hmm.
And so, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so I wanted to shift gears a little bit. What are some of your plans for your business? Like, share your vision and what you're intending to do.
So right now I'm working on sharing practices with individuals in order to get them to feel like they're in a healthier place, whatever that
Mhm.
means to them. So if patients need help not only with cannabis, but other natural interventions, whether that's food or yoga, for whatever condition they may have, anxiety, depression, even like skin conditions, bowel conditions, all of those things can be addressed with cannabis and yoga. So that's just one of my projects. I'm also looking to do group projects as well. So workshops for whole groups, on different topics that will include yoga and plant medicine. So like how can we address issues with menstrual pain or disorders through those practices. So I'm doing individual wellness consultations. I'm going to be doing groups and in person here, I'm doing meditation classes, but I don't think I talked to you about this, Ashley.
Mhm.
I'm setting up or maybe I did, a event here in New York City called the Daisy Cannabis,
Yeah.
not Daisy Cannabis Collective. That is something that I have engaged in, the Daisy Yoga Collective NYC, and this is going to be a big project where I can share with people what I'm doing. And, one of the goals of this is to put South Asian yoga teachers on a platform because we are often left out of the yoga industry. And there's not so many of us. No, we are in the cannabis industry. It's
Mhm.
quite low key, I guess, because
Yeah.
of the stigma. But that's another project I'll be setting up that is open to everyone, not just Desi people. Desi people are people of South Asian descent living abroad. But we want to really put on the platform South Asian yoga teachers. And in the future, I will be offering some more classes. My light went out. I'm sorry, for nurses. I want to educate nurses on holistic and integrative topics. because there are options, nurses and nursing students. You don't have to go straight to med surg if you don't want to. I didn't. I mean, maybe I kind of did in pediatrics, but adults, there are options. You don't have to be stuck and pigeonholed because your clinical instructor is telling you that you have to do this. You don't.
Absolutely. I was one of those nurses that started off in med surg, man. They convinced
Yeah,
me. They convinced me to join it. But I mean, I don't regret it. I learned a lot, right? Obviously, I ended up exactly where I'm supposed to be, but I think there are a lot of years of confusion in that, like, I didn't realize all the options that were potentially available for me. So, I mean, this is a different time and space too. So, 14 years in, the landscape looked quite different for nurses. There was not as much of a like online presence the way that it is now, where you can learn that there are alternative opportunities for you, alternative jobs, alternative entrepreneurial opportunities. And so I think expanding our awareness, right? So we talked about expanding our awareness of what wellness actually means, and then identifying what people need to achieve said wellness, and then seeing where you can fit into that process for people is where I think the inspiration comes, or the creativity comes, where you can do something different. So I love that you're taking your background, what you understand about your people, and infusing that into how you offer the services that you're offering, so that way that group of people can get access to wellness. I think it's a given right to have access to wellness, and but it's been stripped away just because of the constructs that we live in.
for sure. Um, there are options, and social media has really given us a platform to speak out and share with nurses that there are those options. Like
Hmm.
15 years ago, I mean, YouTube existed, but I guess I didn't do research on alternative nursing careers 15 years ago. I was trying to get my experience in as a nurse, and
Hmm.
um, you know, options are there for everyone. But
Yeah,
you do have to be creative, tap into your creativity. And this is what I love about moving into my own business is I get to be creative. For anybody who thinks that they're not creative or they're not an artist, that doesn't have to hold true because creativity and art comes in many forms.
yeah. And I was surprised too that what so when I first started in this space, I didn't realize that I could be a creative being. I didn't realize that because I didn't draw or I didn't sing or, whatever. And what I realize now is the creativity is creation, right? Like, how can the thought become a thing? And so that's also a practice to be able to develop and build your thoughts into things. Like, there's a process for that. And so I think that's also something that, many of us nurses have the ability to tap into, because I mentioned a lot of us are intuitive, but we also tend to be very spiritual, and we also tend to be leaning in the water sign arena, and we are just creative beings. Like, that's just what it is. So um
Yeah.
is there anything else you wanted to share with anybody?
Yes. One last thing I want to share is if you're not sure what your purpose is or how you can be creative, or even if you think those things aren't for you, one way to tap into that is to lean into those things that feel good to you. Like, what did you enjoy as a child that you kind of
Mhm.
forgot about? What is it? What are the things you enjoy? Because most of us are focused on work, or a lot of people use, um, substance use as a replacement for hobbies or things they love. But what is it that you love? What can you tap into, and what are you naturally good at? Maybe write those things down. What fills you with joy when you think about it? Ask your friends, what do you think I'm good at? If you were going to ask me for help, what would you ask me for help for? And those are all things that I did. So wanted to share that with everyone. You are capable of creativity. You are capable of worth. It's just a process that you have to work on.
Yeah, definitely, for sure, for sure. Thank you for sharing that. So, any when do you want to tell people how they can contact you?
Yes, so you can contact me. Maybe you see the bar at the bottom, flor.verde.healing on Instagram. And my website is florverdehealing.com. So
All
visit
right.
me. I'm in New York City and New Jersey. I know you all out there, so reach out, or no matter where you're from, no matter where you're from.
Yeah, so she can offer services virtually. She can do online meditation. This girl, let me tell you,
Mhm.
she's not telling you everything. She can do online meditation. She can do she has meditations available for you, so reach out for her to her for that. She can do online coaching if you're trying to achieve your wellness goals. She can do in-person events if you're interested. So if you're in Philly, I'm not Philly.
Or Philly too, because I used to live there and
Okay.
I love
That
it.
that came really natural. I think I don't know,
Yeah.
but Philly, New York, New Jersey, if you're in that area and you need help trying to figure out what tools would be a good fit for you, she is the person to reach out to. So you have her IG down there, you see her website. If you're interested in learning more about cannabis and incorporating it into your practice, definitely check out the Accelerator program. It's starting in 2 weeks. We've just launched it today, so definitely get on the wait list for that, and you'll be seeing me all day. So just stay tuned, share, comment, whatever. I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.
Thanks, Ashley.
Of
Bye.
course. Bye.